Congressman Ted Lieu, who is joining us on all these burning questions of the hour. Congressman, I want to ask you about where you all take this, but I don't want to skip over the Attorney General's attempt to frame the report today. It was the fifth time, I think, that we've heard from the Attorney General about the Mueller report. It was purposely done before the Mueller report was available, and he seemed to say on obstruction that the president was very frustrated. And while he may have been obstruction-y, he did it because he was frustrated. What do you make of the role that the Attorney General has played in putting his finger on the scale on the obstruction question, a question that Robert Mueller and his investigators left unanswered, neither exonerating the president nor recommending criminal prosecution?
Thank you, Nicole, for your question. I'm a former prosecutor, and you can't go through Volume 2 without coming to the conclusion that Donald Trump met the elements of obstruction of justice. For example, when you ordered McGahn to go fire Robert Mueller, it's irrelevant that McGahn didn't execute the order because the obstruction of justice statute just requires that you endeavor to obstruct justice. You don't have a completed act. Bill Barr's fringe legal theory is that because Donald Trump didn't commit a second underlying crime, he basically could not have done obstruction of justice. That's nowhere in the statute. Most scholars reject it out of hand. Bill Barr is way out of the mainstream in terms of legal establishment, and he looks more and more like just a political hack.
Does his conduct and the gravity of the president's conduct and really what Mueller details as an inability to ascertain a full and complete picture based on the lack of access to a presidential interview and the lack of any written answers at all on the question of obstruction, does that force your caucus and your party and your leaders to reevaluate the consideration about impeachment?
On the House Judiciary Committee, we don't have a record yet. What we have is the redacted Mueller report. We have interesting reporting by MSNBC and others. We have people saying things on TV. What we actually need is to build a record. We're going to gather documents, interview witnesses under oath, and then we're either going to exonerate Donald Trump on obstruction of justice or we're not. And then we're going to have a discussion with American people based on what our investigation shows. What
do you think would make you more able to exonerate or not than Robert Mueller?
So we're going to call in Robert Mueller to testify. My hope is that he actually does that. And if you look at the Mueller report, it really looks like he said, basically, I can't indict a sitting president. I'm going to lay out what happened with obstruction of justice. And now you, Congress, or the institution that can hold Donald Trump accountable, that's what House Democrats are going to do on the Judiciary Committee.
Did you hear in Barr's testimony when he talked about the first release of the Mueller report being a first pass, that they were getting on a war footing to fight with you about the underlying evidence or the unredacted version? I understand actually an unredacted version will be made available to some members of Congress, but do you have suspicion about how transparent the Department of Justice will be, or are you optimistic that you'll be able to obtain the underlying evidence and access to all of Mueller's witnesses?
Based on Bill Barr's conduct, I've lost all faith and credibility in Bill Barr. He wrote a 4-page summary that was very misleading. He then did a press conference where he made additional misstatements of fact related to the Mueller report. So we don't trust Bill Barr. We need to see the full unredacted report. We want to hear from Robert Mueller as well. Congressman
Swalwell called for his resignation today. Do you agree with that, or are you not there yet?
I know that Bill Barr took one oath, and it was not to Donald Trump. It was to the U.S. Constitution. I hope Bill Barr will act in the public's interest, not in the interest of Donald Trump. That is not his job. He is not Rudy Giuliani. He is the Attorney General. He needs to act on all of our interests and uphold the U.S. Constitution. I hope he continues to do that, but so far, he really looks just like a partisan hack.
Congressman, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We're really grateful on a day like today. Thank you.